Hello guys, in this video you will learn everything about the input function. Input allows us to give data from the user in the terminal. In fact, this function is a bridge between the user and the application that can give the user's data and store it in a variable. In this video, we'll write a program that takes a value from the user as a mile and convert it into a kilometer. Well, let's go to the program. I define a variable and name it miles. Okay, now let's run the program. As you can see, the console does not do anything. The thing is, your console is waiting for the user to give the data in here. But how can we know this? There are no sign or guide in here. Imagine we have dozens of lines and after running the program, we see that the console does nothing. How do we know if we should enter data or not? As a programmer, this is your job to ask the user to enter the required data because the program does not do that for you. You have two options in here. One, print a text before the input function and ask the user to write down a value. Like this example, print, please enter your distance. Or we can remove the first line and merge it with the input function. This means you can display some text to the users and get data from them simultaneously. Programmers prefer to use the second method because the number of codes decreases. If we do that, we can see it is asking for the value. Now the user knows something is happening. So the user will come down and enter what is asked for. Alright, now let's continue our example. Now we can print our program. And with string concatenating, we can print a meaningful sentence. For example, your distance is plus mile plus miles. Alright, if you remember the string concatenating rules, we cannot add a number or in other words, an integer or a float to a string. So what is going on here? I put a number in miles variable and the code ran without any problem. To make this clear, let me print the type of our variable. Oh, our variable is a string, but how? This is because of the special feature of the input function, and that is, any data that enters the input function becomes a string. Alright, now you know the input function and how it works. If our goal was to show the user the input number, our job would be done. But we want to do operation on the input and show the user distance in kilometers. To convert miles in kilometers, we have to multiply the entered number by 1.60934. As we know, the input function returns a string, so multiplying a string by a number causes an error. Let's check. Well, as we expected, the program gave an error. All we have to do here is change the variable miles to an integer or a float. Python has a built-in function named int and float to convert any data type to a float or an integer. Now we have two options in here. One, the data type of the input number changed to an integer at the very beginning and when the user enters it. Or use the float function at the time of division. Like here, kilometer equal to float miles multiplied by 1.60934. Be careful, once the miles variable is changed to a float, your program is giving you an error because now the data type of miles and kilometer is not a string and you can't concatenate them with your print text, so you need to use the formatting method. So let me put F behind my sentence and use curly brackets for my variable. We see that our code is executed correctly. Let's talk a little more about the input function and make our program more advanced. Suppose our user wants to add multiple distances together and write, for example, 15 miles plus 22 miles. As you see, the program gives us an error because the float function cannot convert 50 plus 22 to a float. So what do we do here? This is a function called eval, which prepares the program to do so. The eval function evaluates the string like a Python expression and returns the result as an integer. In fact, with the eval function, you are parsing the data which are getting from the user. This makes our program smarter and more advanced, and we are able to import wider inputs. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to my channel and watch the other tutorials. Thank you for watching this video.